We welcome you all back after this Namavali and the Palashruti to our concluding talk on Lalita Sahasranama. And this is also the concluding series of talks for this Guru Sapadya 2020 Chaturmasyam. So it is ordained by our Gurus and Lalita Parameshwari herself that she has chosen a Paurnami for us to conclude it this way with the Puja Kramam of Sahasranamavali and then Palashruti. And we are going to listen to the Lalitamba's Mahima to conclude it. What better way and what better blessing, stuff we need to do this. So we welcome you all on behalf of Sringeri Guru Bandhava and Tattvaloka for this concluding talk series. And then on this occasion, Dr. Chandrashekhara, who gave us the first talk 3 days ago, set the stage for a beautiful proceeding of who Lalitamba is and who is competent to do this and all that. So let me just, take you through that, just to give a little introduction because many of you were not present during the talk maybe. So we started the talk when I introduced that Adi Shankara himself showed us who this supreme goddess is. She is none other than Chit Shaktihi, we said. So since she is Chit Shaktihi, doing the complete and Purna, and then doing the Panchakriti Parayana, she is the Chetana Rupini. She is that Chetanatvam which is prevalent in everything in us and around us. It's very simple to understand. If there is no Chetanatvam in the air that we breathe and the oxygen that we take in, we can't survive. If there is no Chetanatvam in the water that we drink, it doesn't make sense. If there's no Chetanatvam in the space that we live, we can't be, firmed up in this bhumi on this gravity. So much is that about the Chit Shakti and Chetana Rupa of Lalitamba. And then Dr. Chandrashekhara ji beautifully started it with the Anubandha Chatushtayam. Chatushtayam is 4, which is Vishayam, and then Prayojanam, then Anubandha, the Sambandha to the scripture that we are learning and the Paramatma Tattvam that we are learning, and then the Adhikaratva. So Adhikaratva is very important because it's like this, eligibility and competency, that is the difference. He said that everybody is eligible to learn this and do the Parayanam, and this Lalita Sahasranamam has all the Vidhi, not just the Parayanam. It can be used in the Japa in a Vidhi, it can be used in Puja in a Vidhi, and it can be used in a Homa in a Vidhi. So everything, all embracing Tattva is this Lalita Parameshwari and Lalita Sahasranama. Namavalis have all this. So when you are eligible to, everybody is eligible, obviously we need to build that competency. So without competency, we can't do any of these things. Can we do a puja without, having shower or, with that bhava or something? It's not possible. So that is the difference between competency and eligibility and competency. It's like privilege and entitlement. And then he beautifully took us through the Purushartha Chatushtayam also, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So Lalita Parameshwari is the one who is capable of giving both the Ihapara Sampat and also the Moksha Sampat, the ultimate. So for the one who is on the path of Dharma, with Shraddha, he gave a beautiful example of this, beautiful explanation for Shraddha. Shraddha is that truth. So the person who gives is that goddess herself. Shraddha is the truth that, Astikya Buddhi, that, she is present everywhere and she gives it herself. So she gives both the Ihaloka and Paraloka Sukham. She's the only person capable of doing this. And then he took us through several things and explaining the namas. And then at the end, he gave a profound statement that she is the Lalita Parameshwari who is in you. Because when she's outside, she's inside me also. But how do we know that she is inside? Then he gave this Dhyana Dhyatra Dhyaya Rupa, she is. In the Dhyana Shloka, we know that, it is given to us by the rishis themselves. The Dhyana Shloka, who she is with that Rupa. And Dhyatra is the person who is meditating or doing all this puja and everything. And Dhyaya is herself, Lalitamba herself, the object of cognition or the tattva of cognition is Lalita Parameshwari herself. So that is the connection. I'm just, asking you to connect all the dots. Every time you hear, please write down the notes and always learn how to connect these things. That's very important. Once you know the concept, you have to apply it and then find out the patterns, similar patterns, what is in the cosmos and what is in me. So am I connected? That is very important in the study of spirituality or in the study of Vedanta. So a good Vedic and Vedanta person he's taking us through this. And he said that he is going to show us the Vishwarupa of Lalita Parameshwari as to where all she is, in what form she is in us to realize that. So we are going to behold that Vishwarupam. Please stay with him and understand. And the link is also going to be available, so you can play the two talks together to get a full understanding as well. So let me stop my introduction there. Let's welcome Dr. Chandrashekhara Tekalji for the session to take us and show us the Vishwarupa of this Lalita Parameshwari and explain the Lalita Tattvam to us. And he is that Satpurusha who does that achara and seeks the blessings of the Ubay Gurus all the time and the Lalita Parameshwari. And today being Purnima is a very special day for him as well as a Sri Vidya Upasi, actually. So Achara Prathamo Dharmaha. So he's an example for that. Over to you, Doctor. Thank you so much.
ॐ शारदा शारदां भोजवदना वदनाम्बुजे सर्वदा सर्वदास्माकं सन्निधिं क्रियात् श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागे व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। मी श्रद्धा भक्तिपूर्वक साष्टांग नमस्कारams to Ubhaya Jagat Gurus, seeking their blessings and grace. To start this session 2. So we have already had the introduction of a brief introduction of what happened in the session 1. Sharadamma is quite very apt. So we took four categories of people who take shelter for various purposes, who is an artha, who has dukkha, who wants to get rid of dukkha, artharthi, who wants some happiness through wealth, etc., artharthi. The third, a jignasu, who is very curious to know about who this Lalita Parameshwari actually is. And then the fourth, a jnani, who has understood the tattva of Lalita Parameshwari, but at the same time, it just doesn't end with knowing the tattva by shravana or even manana or even nididhyasa. Now, what does it require? So it requires the jnani to be always there in the Parabrahma Swarupa till Paramatman does the anugraha of mukti. So it has to be there. The manas and buddhi has to be there in the Swarupa. Okay, that is jnana nishtha. Okay, so if this has to happen, I have to understand that at each stage, including this Sharira, which is the tool to know, to perform, and to gain, to know about what needs to be done, and to perform as per the instruction, and to gain the benefit of what is known, I have to understand that this is of the highest order of Parameshwari. This tool also is none other than Parameshwari, so I cannot simply sort of belittle this particular Sharira and Manas also. So how do we know in Lalita Sahasranamam what is this particular Sharira made up of? Okay. So in the Lalita Sahasranamam, it says is body is sort of divided into three kuta. Kuta is always a group. Okay. What is this three kuta? Okay. That is, one is the Vagbhava Kuta. What does it say? श्रीमद्वाग्भवकूटैकस्वरूपमुखपङ्कजा श्रीमद्वाग्भवकूटैकस्वरूपमुखपङ्कजा. So this is Vagbhavakuta. Okay. And then Kantadha Katiparyanta Madhyakuta Swarupini. There is one Madhyakuta. This is Vagbhavakuta. And from neck onwards till the girdle, that is hip. Okay. It is called the Madhyakuta. Okay. Kantadha Katiparyanta Madhyakuta Swarupini. And then Shakti Kutaika Tapanna Katyadho Bhagadharini. From below the waist, the extremities in the legs, etc., till the feet, it is the Shakti Kuta. Okay. So, what is Vagbhava Kuta? See, if a person has to convey anything of what is understood or anything like that, or even for the very existence, it is the Vak that comes first. Okay, it is the Vak, that is the speech that comes first. So, to sort of know that an individual exists, it has to have a kind of Vak. Okay, that is some kind of a sound. Okay, now that starts with A. Okay, the sound starts with A. That is the A. What is that? How does it start? You see, when a baby is born, the moment the baby comes out of the mother's womb, it cries, and the first cry is with A. Okay. Okay. Now, even in Gita it says, no, amongst all the aksharas, I am the akshara A. Why? Because all other letters have this common letter of A in all other letters. It is common. So, once the baby cries, everybody is sitting outside waiting for the news. They are all very, very happy. As long as this is not known or heard, they are all in sort of some kind of a suspense, isn't it? So, the very note that the baby is alive and will thrive and survive, no, the baby has to cry, isn't it? So it is the sound with which it comes out, the sound comes out. And this Vak is none other than the Agni present in the belly, which is the Jatara Agni. Okay, so in Ayurveda there is a sutra, Nakhalu Pitta Vyatirekat Anyo Agnirupalabhyate Agnetvat. That is, it is the same Agni which comes out in the form of speech. Okay, Agnim vak bhutva mukham pravishat. Agni entered the mouth in the form of vak, is what it says. This is the Upanishad Vakya. So that is exactly what has been told in the Lalita Sahasranama also. So that is Vagbhavakuta. Then once the Vagbhavakuta, then all the necessary functional aspects of metabolism, they go on in the Madhyakuta. Okay? And once Madhyakuta, all digesting food, etc., starts. Okay? How do you know that all the metabolic functions are okay? How do you know? Then the third, in the Shakti Kuta, what happens? The child starts moving its hands and legs and etc., and gradually starts mumbling with other, bisyllable, monosyllable, bisyllables, etc., and then it starts walking. Okay. Now, whenever there is Shakti, how does it express itself? In form of action. Okay. Now that is where it is located in the hip, in the waist region. Okay. That is Kantadha Katiparyanta Madhyakuta Swarupini Shakti Kutaikatapanna Katyadho Bhagadharani. As long as the Shakti is still not sort of gathered, the baby tries to sort of crawl, etc., and then gradually sits on the waist. So this is why it is very important. The waist region is very important because it is called Mooladhara. Okay. So it is the Adhara, Moola, which is, this is the basic, it's the base actually. Okay. Now from here, it starts moving around. Then you understand that this is all three aspects of speech, digestion energy, and locomotion actions are all normal. So, Vagbhavakuta of gaining knowledge, etc., all sense organs along with the skin, and then all necessary metabolic functional aspects which are present in the Madhyakuta, and then sustenance, and then where you have to simply just, there should be locomotion, isn't it? Then you have to walk here and there and do a lot of work, karma. So all the karmendriyas have to be functional. So all these put together is what is Parameshwari in the form of Vagbhavakuta, Madhyakuta, and Shaktikuta. Okay. Now, if you have to briefly understand, this Vagbhavakuta is Kapha Pradhana. In Ayurveda, what we say Vata Pitta Kapha, it is Kapha Pradhana, where the brain is a liquid tissue which gains all knowledge through the sense organs, etc. Okay. Madhyakuta is Pitta Pradhana, where all metabolic activities happen with a lot of energy, okay, heat energy. Okay. And then from the waist below, it is all karmendriyas along with procreation. Okay. So it is Vata Pradhana, which means that is Prana Kriya that happens in the below. Okay. So this is very, very important to understand the structure of the entire body, where Lalita Parameshwari herself is actually executing all the actions being here. Now, you see, how do we understand that once you eat food? Always remember, whether you are an artha or an artharthi or a jignasu or a jnani, food that goes into this particular temple of Parameshwari, Deho Devalaya Proktaha. Okay, so Deho Devalaya. Now, this is exactly temple of Lalita Parameshwari. And this temple has come from food. Annad Bhavanti Bhutani. Okay, so how should it be? It should be very sattvic. What do you mean by sattvic? Where the mind doesn't go astray and it focuses on Lalita Parameshwari. Whenever you are doing any kind of a japa, nama sankirtana, stotra, homa, anything. Now, for that, you see, how should I understand that this food itself is becoming this particular temple. So there are so many tissues, what we know, isn't it? We know plasma, lymph, blood, muscle, fat, etc., bone, etc. This is what we know in English, isn't it? But how do I understand that whatever has been told in English terminology has been told in the Shastra, and that too in Puranas and in Lalita Sahasranama? Okay, and there are something called as plexus. Plexus is a group of nerves meeting together at a common point. Okay, now these plexus are also divided into three. Okay, it is divided into three and later on subdivided into six. How do we know that? Neurology speaks of all that. Okay, but how does Lalita Sahasranama say? It says मूलाधारैकनिलया ब्रह्मग्रन्थिविभेदिनी मणिपूरान्तरुदिता विष्णुग्रन्थिविभेदिनी आज्ञाचक्रान्तराळस्था रुद्रग्रन्थिविभेदिनी. Okay, what is this Brahma Granthi, Vishnu Granthi and Rudra Granthi? You see, what is Brahma Granthi? When it is Brahma Granthi, now everything is created. Okay, now once everything is created, then you want to sort of, once everything is created, for whose sake? For my sake. Now after I utilize all that, I have to take with the kartrutva, I take everything and sort of enjoy. Okay, to enjoy I have to be bhoktru. Okay, now for the bhoga to happen, this particular Agni which is present in Jathara as Jathara Agni has to be very, very good. So what is Vishnu? It is basically Bhoga, which is in all forms. Okay. Now once I get all these forms of experiencing all happiness through all other objects, then what happens? I develop a lot of ahankara, that I am doing this, I am the bhoktra, etc., etc. You see, if this should not disturb you, if it should not cause a hurdle in attaining moksha, then it should have the right kind of jnana, and for that attainment of jnana, the most important hurdle is ahankara. Okay, in ahankara, the adhidevata of ahankara is Parameshwara. Okay, so who is seated in the Ajna Chakra? That is the third eye. Okay, so Ajna Chakrantaralastha Rudra Granthi Vibhedini. So what happens if you simply sincerely pray, both whenever it comes with bhoga as well as in moksha, this particular Rudra Granthi, there is the Bhedana, which means Rudra Granthi Vibhedini, that ahankara is thwarted. Once the ahankara is destroyed, then Sudhasara Bhivarshini. What is Sudhasara? Sudhasara is nothing but moksha is given. Till then, it is only in these three plexus that it travels, that the jiva travels, not to the fourth. Okay? Once he ascends all that, now it is moksha. Okay, that is the symbolic presentation what has been given here. But this is the main plexus of nerves present in, it is called a sacroiliac plexus, thoracic plexus and cervical plexus of nerves. Okay, so which is what I told you about Brahma Granthi, Vishnu Granthi and Rudra Granthi. Okay, and the brain is the Sahasrara. Okay, now you see what happens with respect to other 6 plexuses of tissues. Okay, now how food gets divided and assimilated as the tissues itself. Okay, you see what happens. I'll come from the other end, from the top end. Okay, Vishuddhi Chakra Nilaya Araktavarna Trilochana Khattvangadi Praharana Vadanaika Samanvita Payasanna Priyat Vakstha Pashuloka Bhayankari Amrita Adi Mahashakti Samvrata Dakinishwari. That is, in Vishuddhi Chakra, it is Arakta Varna, it is Trilochana, there is only one Vadana or one face. Okay? Now, there is one Adhidevata of Vishuddhi Chakra in the name of Dakini. Okay? Now, here it says, if you give her Payasanna Priya, if you give Payasanna, what is Payasanna? It is Payasa prepared out of rice, ghee and jaggery and milk. Okay, it is Payasanna Priya. What happens? Tvakstha. Now, where is this particular deity present? Tripura Sundari, this is Lalita Parameshwari, controls this particular thing through Dakini as Tvakstha. What is Tvak? Tvak is the skin. Okay, so this Lalita Parameshwari in the form of Dakini, by taking Payasan Priya, she actually has become Tvak. Tvakstha. Stha means to be in. Okay, as the Tvak or the skin. You see, when you see the body, first what you see is the skin, isn't it? That is the outermost layer. That is Dakini. Okay, that is Vishuddhi Chakra controlling Tvak. Okay, next if you come, it is Anahata. Anahata Abjinalaya Shyamabha Damshtrojvala Akshamaladi Rudhira Samsthita. Okay, once you see, to understand the first tissue, body tissue, we said it is skin, isn't it? So in Ayurveda, there is one tissue called rasa. In Western terminology, it is also called as the lymphatics or the plasma that forms the outermost layer of the skin. What has been told exactly in Lalita Sahasranama is Tvakstha. Next, once you sort of cut open the first layer, you will start getting blood, isn't it? So what does it say? After Vishuddha, it is Anahata, Vadana Dvaya. There are two Vadanas or two portions. Okay. In this particular Anahata, it is Rakini as the Devata, the deity present. Now, where is it? It is Rudhira Samsthita. Rudhira is blood. Where does the blood get pumped from? What is the source? It is the heart, isn't it? So, Anahatabjanilaya Shyama Bhavadanadvaya Tamshprojjala Kshamaladi Rudhira Samsthita. Okay? Kalaratriyadi Shaktyauhavrata Snigdhau Danapriya. So, if you want to please that deity, you have to take Snigdhaudana. What is Snigdhaudana? It is something like ghee rice. Okay? Coming to the third, Manipura. Manipura is Raktavarna and it has three Vadana, three faces. And for the deity for Manipura, it is Lakini and she likes Gudana. Gudana is jaggery rice. Okay, what we offer in Chandi Yaga, it is the Gudanna. And Gudanna Mamsanishthayai Namaha, Gudanna Pritamanasayai Namaha. You see, if we go down, first it is Tvak or the lymphatics, then it is blood, then it is Mamsa or the muscle that you get. So on and so forth. Next is Swadhisthana. It has four faces. It is yellow in color, Pita Varna, and it is next is Meda. Meda is fat or the adipose tissue. And adipose tissue, Madhuprita. Madhuprita, Bandhinyada Samanvita. Kakini is the deity. Okay. Next after that is Mooladhara. Mooladhara has five faces. Asthi Samsthita. You see, the most heaviest and the widest part of the skeletal structure that takes the load of the entire Sharira is the girdle present in the waist region. Okay, so it is called Mooladhara, where it takes the entire stability, it brings about the stability of the body. So it says Asthi Samsthita. So the entire Asthi, the skeletal structure, is taken in the Mooladhara, and Mudgaudana, or I should say Khichdi, Khichdi or Pongal is what is Mudgaudana Sakta Chitta, Asakta Chitta, Sakinyamba Swarupini. The deity present in Mooladhara is Sakini deity. Okay? And after that, it is Agnya. Agnya here, it is Shuklavarna. Shuklavarna is white in color. Shadanana is sixth tissue. If you have observed from the beginning, first is Vishuddhi, Anahata, Manipura, Swadhisthana, Mooladhara. First tissue is lymphatics or the skin. Next is blood, muscle, fat, bone. Now, Agnya Chakra is the bone marrow. It is Majja Samstha, Hamsavati, Mukhya Shakti Samanvita. That is, you see, Jnana, etc., for the brain to act, okay, it needs blood supply from everywhere, which the heart pumps. But for that, the generation of blood, production of blood happens in the bone marrow, where the entire, wherever there is a bone marrow, isn't it? So there, it is very important that the Mukhya Shakti, the production of blood happens in the bone. No, that is called as Majja Samstha, Hamsavati, Mukhya Shakti Samanvita. No, that is the Mukhya Shakti from where the blood gets originated. Okay. Now, if that is good, if the production is good, the pumping station is also working well, then the brain receives the proper blood, nourished blood. Then incoming of jnana is perceived properly, understood properly. Okay. So, Agnya Chakrabjanalaya Shuklavarna Shadanana. It is the Majja or the bone marrow, which is the deepest, is the sixth tissue. Okay. So, what is Shadanana? Sixth tissue. That is the sixth one. Next is Sahasradala Padmastha Sarvavarnopashobhita Sarvayudhadara Shukla Samsthita Sarvato Mukhi. That is, Shukla is the essence of all these tissues put together. The essence is what is called as Shukra, that is the reproductive tissue which has the ability to generate an entire being. Okay. Now that is present in the seventh one, that is the Saptadhatvatmika Shariram, Saptadhatu, what it says. So there are 7 tissues in the body, which is exactly and beautifully described in Lalita Sahasranama. That is Majja Samstha Hamsavati. So that is Haridranaika Rasika. Okay, Haridrana is something like lemon rice. Okay, which is given to Hakini, that is Majja Samstha, Agnya Chakra. And in Sahasrada Padmastha Sarvanopshobhita Sarvaudana Prita Chitta. Okay, so this is some very important technical aspects of how we should actually lead a life where you adopt a sadachara. Sadachara is leading a very pious, disciplined life, what has been prescribed in the Shastra. Okay, what has been told in Bhagavad Gita also. Yaha Shastra Vidhamuchajya Vartate Kamakartaha. Okay, so Tasmat Shastram Pramanante. So same thing also has been told in Lalita Sahasranama. Okay, so one very important thing is when doing puja of Lalita Parameshwari, if we compare it with all other deities, it stops at Shodashopachara, that is 16 upacharas. Whereas Lalita Parameshwari is the lone Devata where all 64 upacharas have been told. Okay, so that is why it says Chatushyashtyupacharadhya Chatushashtikalaatmika. So Chatushyashtyupacharadhya, the only Parameshwari, the feminine aspect of Parabrahman, that has all 64 upacharas. Okay, now you see some very important aspects of following sadachara for everybody. Everybody. Why? Because you see, we now know that Lalita Parameshwari is none other than Sakshat Paramatman. Now, if she has to get me out of dukkha or has to give me sukha, or if she has to reveal her tattva, there has to be a complete order in this jagat. There has to be a system that already is established, isn't it? So, what is the system that has been established in this jagat? It is Varnashrama Vidhayini. What is Varnashrama Vidhayini? It is Chaturuvarnya and Ashramas. Varnashrama Vidhayini. That is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, or the Varnas, Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa are the ashramas. Now, this particular Chaturuvarnya and ashramas, many people of late, people think that it has been sort of established by ourselves. Okay, so no, it is completely wrong. No, it is not right. Okay, because it very clearly says Varnashrama Vidhayini. So this entire Varnashrama has been established by herself and in the Paramatman herself. Okay, so if you follow, if and only if you follow this Varnashrama Vidhayini, Varnashrama Vidhana, whatever has been established, all the instructions, rules, and regulations that have been told there, then where has it been told? It has been told in the Vedas. Nijagnya Rupa Nigama Punya Punya Phalaprada Shruti Simanta Sinduri Kratapada Abjadhulika. That is, if you follow all the rules and regulations not according to our own whims and fancies, but simply due to out of Sharanagati, if you simply follow what Parameshwari has told us as to how a Brahmana should be, how a Kshatriya should be, etc., according to their own ashrama, then Punya Punya Phalaprada. So if you follow the dharma, that is dharma. Now if you follow your swadharma, then you get punya. Then if you don't follow dharma, if you follow adharma, then it is papa. So according to whatever a person does, if it is dharma or adharma, it is punya and papa respectively is given. Okay. Now this forms a kind of a cycle. You follow dharma, then you get punya, then you keep on doing karma, then you get bhoga, then you become a bhoktri, etc. So you are already in this big cycle. Okay. Now, whoever, okay, if you want to, after a long time, nobody is forcing you. Bhagavati doesn't force you to say, no, go out of samsara, you have to know my swarupa, etc. Parmeshwari doesn't force anybody. Why? Because she says, Bhavachakra Pravartini. What is Bhavachakra Pravartini? There is Bhavachakra, is Samsara Chakra. Pravartini is she will simply keep doing it. She is not tired. Okay? So, she simply tirelessly, she simply goes on creating and taking everything inside. She does it because she is that powerful. Okay. Now, there is some person who is sort of doesn't want to sort of go into this particular cycle of just dharma and punya and papa and again bhoga and again janana and marana, etc., etc. Okay. Now, such a person becomes very curious because how? Having attained so much of punya, I make a mistake after getting sukha, I commit a mistake. Then she shows me the way how to correct myself. Then again, I do the same mistake. Again, she, out of lot of karuna, she shows me a way how to get out of it. Continuously happens. Who does something like this? Keeps on showing so much of mercy, out of compassion, out of love, out of care. Simply, the moment I say apologize, she says okay. Okay. Who does it like that? It is the mother who always does it. Okay. A lot of karuna. Okay. So a person who becomes very curious to understand who this mother is now becomes a jignasu. Okay. He becomes a jignasu. Who is a jignasu? No, jignasu is jnatum ichha jignasa. Jnatum ichha jignasa. See, jnatum ichha jignasa, if we want to really know who she is, okay, what does it say? A person raises both the hands and say, Amma, please take me out of this samsara, because how much ever you attain wealth or happiness, it is, there is an end to it. There is a limitation to it. So again, the same sukha what I have sort of obtained from karma gives me some sort of dukkha. So I don't want to be in this particular cycle of janana marana. Okay. So what am I supposed to do? Please help me. So a person literally boils. Okay. He is literally sort of fried. What does it say? Janma mrityu jara tapta jana vishranti dayini samsara panka nirmagna samudharana pandita. Okay. That is, one who is sort of fed up of this janma mrityu jara tapta, that is being born, becoming adolescent, being young, then again you attain youth and middle age, one day you become old and then die. The same cycle has been happening for innumerable births, isn't it? So some person wants to come out of this. Now he becomes a jignasu. He wants to know Parameshwari by her original tattva, not just as what she is seen here in the form of objects, but her tattva, which is unchanging. Okay. Now, this from, you see, till now, we were dealing with artha and artharthi. Now, a person who comes out of karma, doing karma and obtaining things, he doesn't want this limited happiness. He wants to come out of this particular kind of limited happiness and he wants to have unlimited happiness. Okay. Now, the same Sharira, the same Jagat, same Lalita Parameshwari, you see, very interestingly, was understood by Artha and Artharthi in a different way, in the form of parts, disintegrated, separate entities. That is, now, till now, for example, I am the Artha and I was the Artharthi. I understood everything as separate. It is you, it is him, it is her, it is my parents, friends, etc., etc., my house, my company, this entire Jagat, etc., etc. There was a different kind of an understanding. Okay. Now, This particular understanding gave me always dukkha, even though I attained little bit of sukha, it later on gave me dukkha only. Okay, all these years. Now, if I have to attain happiness which is unlimited, what should I do? Now I am tired. Now I have to go to the only resort. The only way that I will come out of this particular thing is to go to the Shastra. Okay? How do I go to the Shastra? Through a Guru only. So it says, Om Guru Murtyai Namaha, Guru Mandala Rupinyai Namaha. That is, now only a Guru can get you out of this Janana Marana Bandhana and show you the path towards Mukti or Moksha. Okay. Now you see how the Shastras explain the Vedantic aspect. Many people have thought that there is not much of Vedanta in Lalita Sahasranama, but it is filled with Vedanta because it should actually be filled in Vedanta. You know why? Because bhogascha mokshascha karastha eva. So, if suppose there was no Vedanta, okay, then it becomes as if Lalita Parameshwari wants you to be entangled in this samsara always, and she doesn't want you to get rid of this at all, which is not there, because she is herself everything, including you, isn't it? Hridayeshwari, she is here. So, Panchakoshantar Sthita, she is here. So, Kshetreshi. So, this is very, very, very important. So, all the Vedantic aspects are present here. Okay. Now, let us see how Shastras explain Vedanta, and to make us understand, it adopts two ways. I will just briefly tell you what they are. One is Karya Karana Ananyatva. What is Karya Karana Ananyatva? Karyasya Karanatmatvam Natu Karanasya Karyatmatvam. It is like, you see, Bhagavati is like the clay, and the entire Jagat is in the form of pot. Okay. So what does it say? It is the same clay as the pot. Okay. This is Karya and Karana. What is Karya? It is the effect, that is the Jagat, that is the pot. Which is the Karana? It is the clay, it is the Parameshwari. Okay. Now, it shows this is one way. Next is Adhyaropa Apavada. What is Adhyaropa Apavada? I will tell you later. Okay. Now you see how it has been told. There are three aspects. It is Lalita Parameshwari as one entity. The second entity, to me, Lalita Parameshwari is everything. In the sense, I don't know how Lalita Parameshwari is. How do I know her? I know her in the form of an idol. I know her in the form of a photo with description. Sindhura, Navagraham, Tranenam, Manikyamaulis, Parattara, Chandrashekhara, etc. But Lalita Parameshwari is not just that, isn't it? So I don't know Lalita Parameshwari by Tattva and in its entirety. Okay. Now what is the second one? It is the entire Jagat in front of me. I cannot understand entire Jagat. That is very well known. Let me see if I know myself. Okay. If I ask myself, who am I? Then that also I don't know. You know why? I attribute my identity to this body. Okay. Now you see, if I see, am I this body? You simply go back 10-15 minutes and see, everything is done by Parameshwari herself. Dakini, Sakini, Lakini, Hakini, all these people are doing everything. They are controlling everything. Everything is done by her. How do I understand this particular thing? You see, I am the Jiva, isn't it? I am the Jiva. Now I am the bhakta also. I want to understand. Now, to understand such very complex and complicated subtle aspects, now my mind has to be very, very, very pure. So, you see, some point that I didn't want to sort of take it up now, but I will certainly brief because it is very, very important. Now, I told you about Sadachara. Now, Sadachara plus Karma gives Chitta Shuddhi. As long as there is no Chitta Shuddhi, how much ever a person tries, we cannot understand the subtle aspect of Lalita Parameshwari. She is Nitya Shuddha, Nitya Buddha. So, such a Shuddha Swarupa cannot be understood by an Ashuddha mind and Buddhi. So, you see, what do I have? I have Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. Isn't it? So, I have to get rid of all these because she is Nishkama Yai Namaha, Nishkrodha Yai Namaha, Nirlobha Yai Namaha, मोहनाशिन्यै नमः निर्ममायै नमः ममताहन्त्र्यै नमः निष्पापायै नमः पापनाशिन्यै नमः. Isn't it? Nirmadayai namaha, nirmohayai namaha. Because she doesn't have any kind of these Arishad Vargas, etc., etc., I have to pray with lot of Sadachara and Bhakti. In Sadachara, one very important thing which I want to mention is, I have told you that all women also can pray and should pray, isn't it? Now, when it comes to Sadachara, people have to uncompromisingly follow what has been told in the Shastra. When it comes to Sadachara in women, somebody has sent a message saying what is Nitya Karma for women, isn't it? Nitya Karma for women is taking care of children, taking care of elderly people, in-laws, taking care of husband, etc., etc. Along with that, there is something called as Paka Yajna. Paka Yajna. Now, what is Paka Yajna? Cooking at home, fresh food, sattvic food, with the right kind of mind. It should be very pure, sattvic. You should enjoy, because it is all yajna. This naivedya which is being given to Lalita Parameshwari. So I have to, with lot of shraddha and bhakti, I have to do it, isn't it? Now, if I have to do it, I should be very pure. When I say pure, there is one phase in women when they have their menstrual periods. Now, during their menstrual periods, it is very, very, very important for them to abstain from all these activities and completely stay in isolation. Because it is mala. Mala is impurity, that too in the form of blood that goes out. So it is even more hygienic not to have bath, not to touch everything and mingle with people during those 3 days. So this has a lot of scientific reasoning and logic. I don't want to go into that because there's very little time and some more aspects to be explained. But it is very, very, very important that if our Shraddha and Bhakti and Puja, Japa has to give us Sadbuddhi and Sadvidya and Sukha, then we have to follow all these rules and regulations that have been laid down in the Shastra uncompromisingly, and so it is very, very important. You see, when it happens, when we give away all this, give up all this, practices that have come from ages, that we know, even in Mahabharata, Draupadi was observing these practices, and when Dushasana comes in, and she curses him, saying, because you have touched me during the menstrual cycle, your Sarvanasha is guaranteed. Your Sarvanasha is guaranteed, and it so happens. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, we cannot simply say, we cannot perform puja and things like that out of convenience. We cannot simply conveniently say, no, this is okay, this is not traditional, etc., etc. Actually, following all these rules and regulations, what have been propagated traditionally, is the most advanced scientific and hygienic way of practices. So you see, now there are so many health problems that women are facing. It is all because of these particular practices that not have been practicing, we have not been practicing now. Okay, so without that, I sincerely request all women to also practice and to tell their children to practice, so that earlier, if we see our own grandparents who were practicing, are still, even now they're all healthy, whereas we as youngsters not following all these practices, we have a lot of health problems. Okay, so it is not told without any logic not to have bath during those 3 days and to stay isolated. Okay, so there is a lot of scientific reasoning behind it, so I will stop at this particular thing. Okay, so because they are also eligible for moksha, so without performing sadachara, chitta shuddhi is not possible. Without chitta shuddhi, moksha is not possible. Okay, now you see, earlier I used to pray to Lalita Parameshwari as Annadayai Namaha, Vasudayai Namaha. That is, give me food, give me clothing, give me money, give me shelter, etc., etc. You know, now what am I asking for? I'm asking for Bhavadava Sudha Vrishtihi Paparanyadavanala. What is Bhavadava? Bhava is Sukha, Dava is Agni. It is killing me. Okay, I am being burnt by the samsara. So Sudha Vrishti, please bestow the rain of jnana, and please take me out of this paparanya davanala. Davanala is fire. Please burn all the papas. Okay, then what does it say? You see, now, being a jignasu, I have to understand that this particular sharira also is Parameshwari, that we have understood very well. Now, I am there residing inside. I very well know, because I am a kind of a witness to all the changes that are happening in the sharira. If I have to be a witness to the change, I cannot be the change. I have to be an observer to the change. But I don't know who I am, isn't it? You see, now here, you see all the activities that are happening in me are in 3 states. One, during the awakened state, in the wakeful state of action, what I am doing. Next, I sleep and I dream. Next, I have a deep sleep. There are 3 states of all activity that I am doing, isn't it? I think that I am doing all the activity here, and I am dreaming, etc., and I have a good sleep, etc. Now, I attribute all these things to myself, and I identify myself with this body, etc., etc. Now you see, if I really sort of think, I go to Lalita Sahasranama, what it says, I am the Karta Bhokta Jnata, isn't it? Now, Lalita Parameshwari says, no, 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 it is wrong. All the activities performed or happening in the wakeful state in this entire universe, what does it say? Vishwarupa Jagarini Swapanti Taijasatmika Vishwarupa Jagarini. That is Jagrat, that is wakeful state. It is Vishwarupa. herself as Vishwarupa, she is doing all the activities in the wakeful state. Okay? Swapanti Tejasatmika. When you lie down and sleep, there are a lot of dreams. But in dreams, you see a lot of light. There are a lot of objects. Are you have closed your eyes, isn't it? In the wakeful state, you opened your eyes and saw the entire universe. But now you are closing your eyes. But still, the tool with which you were seeing in the wakeful state is not functioning now. But still, you are able to see so much of light. How is it possible? Bhagavati says, no, 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 you are not seeing anything. I am doing it. I am showing. What does it say? Swapanti Taijasatmika. Swapanti. That is when you sleep. Taijasatmika. It is Tejas. That light, that brilliance, what you see is herself. Tejasatmika. Sukta Prajnatmika. When you go to deep sleep, Sukta Prajnatmika. What is Prajnatmika? Now, I was the person trying to gather all knowledges in the wakeful state. Then I gathered the knowledge of the dreams that I saw. Then now, all these knowledges and the ability to gain the knowledge have been frozen as Prajnana Ghana. Prajnana Ghana Rupini. Okay, now Prajna is myself. Actually, I am the one who is sleeping there, isn't it? I don't know who. Okay, now Lalita Parameshwari says it is Supta Prajnatmika. Now, all that whatever is happening, the Sukha, the Ananda that I am enjoying in deep sleep is herself. The only thing is, because I had identified myself with all limited things of body, mind, and the objects, I did not know that me as the only individual in my deep sleep, I have got detached from the body and mind. I am residing in deep sleep as the one and only the person with absolute happiness, unadulterated happiness. How is the happiness in deep sleep? You can't even express that particular thing, isn't it? So, which means it is that kind of happiness, isn't it? Now, that kind of happiness doesn't change day by day. And that ability to know that I am happy also is there along with happiness. Satya Jnanananda Rupa Samarasya Parayana. Satya Jnanananda Rupa. This particular thing of Prajnana Ghanarupini, Prajna is nothing but, which is Parameshwari herself. Prajna. What is Prajna? Shastra says, in Upanishads it says, Bhuta Bhavishya Jnatritvam Sarva Vishya Jnatritvam Asyeveti Prajna. Sushuptopihi Bhuta Purvagatya Prajna Uchate. That is the ability to know everything right from the wakeful state to that in the Sushupti is because of Prajna. Now, who is this Prajna? You see what it says? Kshetra. This particular thing is Kshetra. That is, the body is Kshetra. The entire Jagat is Kshetra. Now, I am the individual who is understanding that this body is also the Kshetra. So, I am separate from the body, isn't it? So, I am the Kshetrajna. Kshetrajna Palini. You see, till the last stage, that is Prajnana Ghana Rupini or Supta Prajnatmika. There are three stages, isn't it? Jagrat, Swapna, and Sushupti. It doesn't end there. Now, I am not just the person in Sushupti or the deep sleep. Who am I? I am that none other than Parabrahman, which is in this Sushupti. Who is this Prajna? Prajnastu Parameshwaraha. Now, what is this Parameshwara? With respect to the three stages of Jagrat, Swapna, and Sushupti, Parabrahman has been explained as Turiya because these three are Avastha. That is Jagratavastha, Swapnavastha, Sushuptyavastha. Now, this fourth one is Parabrahman, which is Turiya. Turiya. Now, Turiya again is not an avastha by itself. Only to delineate from this particular three, to separate that Parabrahman doesn't belong to all these three avasthas, it says Turiya. So, in order to sort of concretely say that Parabrahman is not cognizable as Turiya only, it says Sarvavastha Vivarjita. You cannot, once you talk of Parabrahman, okay, it is Manovacha Magochara. Always, Buddhi tries to understand a particular thing, isn't it? As and when you go on understanding the Swarupa of your own Pratyagatma, who is inside, like that of something what was in the deep sleep, without any attributes except Satya, Jnana, and Ananda. Now, it is beyond, you have to say that this Parabrahman is beyond that also. Okay? Now, beyond that, because the moment you say, I understood, I am aware, then it means there is a finite thing, isn't it? But Parabrahman or Lalita Parameshwari is not like that. So, what does the Veda say? Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. It says, what does it mean? Yato vacho nivartante. If you want to describe Lalita Parameshwari, which is Parabrahman itself, it is indescribable. It cannot be described. Because if you say you describe, then it means it has a form and shape, it is cognizable, etc. Then there is a limitation. But Lalita Parameshwari doesn't have a limitation at all. So, what does it say? Whatever the Vedas say, Lalita Sahasranama also says, Manovacha Magochara, Manaha Vacham Agochara. It cannot be simply cognized just like that, like how you cognize an object. Or when you describe an object, it cannot be described. Manovacha Magochara, Aprameya Yei Namaha, Dharma Dharma Vivarjita Yei Namaha, Nirupadha Yei Namaha, Nirishwara Yei Namaha. You see, all these names give the exact knowledge of Parabrahman, which is Lalita Parameshwari. Nishprapanchayai Namaha. Once I go on understanding the Swarupa of Parameshwari, here itself, where Panchakoshantarasthita Nissima Mahima Namaha. Now that Mahima of Parameshwari doesn't have an end at all, there is no boundary at all. Everything is herself, isn't it? Now if I understand this particular Kshetrajna which is here in this Sharira as the same as that which is there in the other Sharira also, that is Kshetrajna Palini, Kshetreshi, Kshetrajnayai Namaha, everything is herself from Swarupa Drishti, from Brahman's point of view, Parabrahman's point of view. Then you see what happens. Where we began as Lalita Parameshwari, Jagat and Jiva, three different entities, they simply boil down, they crumble into one particular thing as Parabrahman only, isn't it? No, there is only Parabrahman, because earlier to me there was division, now it is undivided as one. There is no Veda, there is no duality. It is non-dual, which is Advaitam. Sadeva Somyadamugrasit Ekameva Dvitiyam. What it says is the same Advaita, sthiti. Now, being in Advaita sthiti, is there prapancha? No, there is no prapancha. From Advaita point of view, it is Nishprapanchaye Namaha. Because she is the Karana, everything, etc. So there is no Akara, Vikara, nothing. There is no, everything is, she is Nirguna, Nirakara, Nirvikara, Nishkarana. Everything is about Brahman. Okay. Now, if I simply just go back and see, usually there is an understanding, there was a wrong understanding, isn't it? Now I have the correct understanding. But what is the wrong understanding that I had? It is called mithya jnana. What is it called? The wrong understanding of this Jagat as an independent Jagat minus Lalita Parameshwari is mithya jnana about the Jagat, isn't it? Now, there is one Jagat that is also present, the wrongly misunderstood Jagat about this particular Jagat which is perceivable and cognizable. Which is that particular Jagat? Where does it exist? It exists in my mind, isn't it? Right in front of me is the Jagat which is Lalita Parameshwari herself. Shri Mata Shri Maharagni Shrimat Simhasaneshwari Chidagnikunda Sambhuta Devakari Samudhyata Abrahma Kita Janani Varnashrama Vidhayini. Everything she has done. Narayana Dashakriti. Everything. Okay? Nakshatra Mandala, this, that, all, everything is what she herself has said. That this is me. But I had a wrong understanding that this is separate. I had never seen Lalita Parameshwari in this Jagat. That mithya word of wrongly understanding, you have to attach it as an adjective. It is mithya jnana. There is nothing called independent word as mithya. What is mithya? Mithya always has to be attached with jnana as an adjective, is wrongly understood as something else. Okay. Now this mithya jnana and mithya jagat was there in my buddhi, isn't it? Now, due to that apara karuna of Lalita Parameshwari, this particular samshaya that I had about myself, about Lalita Parameshwari, and about the Jagat has gone. Now, what is this Jagat? You see, for this particular mithya Jagat, what I had wrongly understood, this particular Jagat which is in front of me has to be there in reality, which is very, very, very important. So, this Jagat is not Mithya which is in front of me. This is Lalita Parameshwari herself, isn't it? So, Vishwarupaye Namaha. So, what is it? Mithya Jagadadhisthanaye Namaha. When you say Mithya Jagadadhisthana, this Mithya Jagat, what I have wrongly understood and conceived in my mind, for this Jagat has to be there. Suppose this Jagat was not there at all, never existed, I could not have wrongly understood at all. So, it is Upanishad Vakyam that यदि हि नामरूपेण व्याक्रियेते तदा अस्य आत्मनः निरुपाधिकं रूपं प्रज्ञानघनाख्यं न प्रतिख्यायेत. Had Parameshwari not created this entire Jagat, okay, then I could not have understood myself at all. I could not have come out of this wrong understanding or misunderstanding, wrongly understanding of this Jagat and myself. Isn't it? So, now with all this, if I simply sincerely pray, what she does is, she is an ocean of karuna, isn't it? She is an ocean of karuna. Karuna rasasagaraye namaha. Because her karuna has been there even when you wanted to escape out of difficulty, even when you wanted to buy a house, even when you wanted to be materialistically happy, suppose she was not Karunyamurti, you would not have got it, isn't it? But that particular thing, don't think that it is sort of her Karunya is limited. It is Avyaja Karunamurtye Namaha. It is Avyaja Karunamurti, an endless Karunamurti. Okay, so I simply I have to pray with lot of humbleness because she is Mugdha. Don't think if you pray to her, it will be a very lengthy procedure for you to get some benefit. No. Kshipra prasadinye namaha, sadyah prasadinye namaha. She will bestow grace immediately. But the only thing is, you have to follow all the rules and regulations that has been told in the Sahasranama Stotra. Okay? Now, does she bestow only for selected few? No. Abalagopaviditaye namaha. What is Abalagopavidita? That is, from Abalagopavidita, she can be understood by anybody, even by children. Okay? The only thing that you should need is Balyena Tishthaset. What is Balyena Tishthaset? You should have utmost clean mind, pure mind and buddhi, and then you should simply keep praying always. Bhakti Priya, Bhakti Gamya. Next, what happens? Bhakti Vashya. Then Lalita Parameshwari becomes Vashya. What does it mean? That becomes with one with your Pratyagatman. Okay? Once she becomes one with your Pratyagatman, that is your mind and buddhi is always with Lalita Parameshwari as per Brahman, then Bhayapaha, Bhakti Priya, Bhakti Gamya, Bhakti Vashya, Bhayapaha. What is this Bhaya? Till now what you had? It is duality. Always remember, Bhaya comes from Avidya. Okay? Because there is Adhyasa, there is multiplicity. Okay? Now all that has gone. So that Bhaya, which was born out of Avidya, has gone. Then so it becomes Bhayapaha. Then what she does is, only to bestow mukti, she is so compassionate that Sarvanullanghya Shasana. She has made so many rules and regulations. Now, once she becomes Bhakti Vashya, she simply leaves every Shasana that she herself has made. Sarvan Ullanghya Shasana. No, I don't want any, nothing. To me, my Bhakta is everything. So she simply comes to me. Sarvanullanghya Shasana Shri Chakraraja Nilaya Srimatripura Sundari. What is a Shri Chakraraja Nilaya? Now Shri Chakra is Abheda Bhavana that I have told you in the beginning itself. So there should be Abheda Bhavana. Deho Devaleh Prokto Jivo Devas Sanatanaha Tyajed Ajnana Nirmalyam Soham Bhavena Pujayet. So once you do with Soham Bhava, Shri Chakrarajanilaya Shri Matripara Sundari Shri Shiva Shiva Shaktaikya Rupini Lalita Ambika. That is Shri Shiva Shiva Shaktaikya Rupini. Shri, when you say Shri Mata, wherever Shri, it means the Shuddha Jnana or the Samyak Jnana of Swarupa. That is Brahma Jnana. Okay, so Shri Shiva is Lalita Parameshwari is Sakshat, this Jnana Swarupini in the form of Shiva Shaktaikya Rupini Lalita Ambika. Earlier it was Shiva and Shiva. Now, Shiva Shaktiyaikya Rupini, Parabrahmaswarupini. Who is that? Sakshat Lalitambika. What you saw as Sindhurarana Vigraham Trinayanam Madikyamolisparat. Now that Lalitambika is Sakshat Parabrahmaswarupini. With this, we have covered right from Artha to Artharthi to Jignasu to Jnani. Once it is there, then it is Sakshat Parabrahman himself. That is, he, the Bhakta, who is a Jnani, has become Lalita Parameshwari in Swarupa, which was earlier also in Swarupa only. It is just that now that Ajnana has gone, then Samyak Jnana has been obtained. Okay? With this, to the best of my Alpa Jnana and Alpamati, I have tried to cover topics in Lalita Sahasranama. If there are any mistakes, I seek an apology. And there are a few topics that I did not want to take because there's too much technical detail into it. When it comes to Sri Chakra and the geometry of Sri Chakra, etc., the Srishti Sthiti Laya, Puja Kramas, etc., because it's completely a different topic of Sri Vidya, which I didn't want to go into. I seek an apology for that also. I end this session with Sashtanga Pranams to Ubhayo Jagat Gurus by reciting the Dhyana Shloka. Sindhurarana Vigraham Tanenam Manikyamaulisphurattara Shekharaam Smritamukhi Mapena Vakshoruham Panibhyam Manipurna Ratnachashakam Raktotpalam Bibhratim Saumyam Ratnakatastharakta Charanam Dhyayet Param Ambika. Harihi Om.
Sri Chakrarajinalaya, Srimat Tripura Sundari, Sri Shiva Shivashaktyekya Rupini Lalitambika. Iti Sri Lalitambikaye Idam Namama. Vaikuntha walks for a more profound session than this, Dr. Chandrashekhara Garu. Shardamba, who is Abhyaja Karunamurti, and our Ubhaya Gurus who are, and the entire Guru Parampara, they are the Abhyaja Karunamurtis, that we would able to give this grand finale and concluding session today on this Paurnami day. We thank you all for your participation. And he showed us the Vishwarupa of Lalitambika Parameshwari, and from eligibility to competency, how to get there, he has shown us a way. And the divinity in us, the divinity acting in us, everything we have known, we have learned rather from his session. Such a profound session. So it is the experience that we need to now keep bagging. So another thing is when people say, I've lost all these years and all that, there is no need to fear at all. I learned from Dr. Chandrashekhar ji the actual definition of Ayuhu. Ayuhu is not this, sort of 70 or 80 years of this jiva as this, janma that, we have. It is the journey of this pratyagatma, which is this jiva, all the way to joining that prajna, Parameshwara. The entire journey is this Ayu. So we have taken several births and we have got here. And in this birth, we have got a guru as profound as our boy gurus who are the realized souls. And we have Satpurushas like Dr. Chandrashekhar ji to elucidate this to us. The entire Shaktam, the entire essence of Veda and Vedanta, and who we are. It's so profound, and the Vishwarupa sort of, is still in front of us. So let's take this and learn and do the vichara. So it's always the connecting the dots. We should extrapolate the patterns and all that to understand. That is the vichara actually. So let's pray to Lalita Parameshwari, our Shardamba, who is Trimurti, their Rupini, and also our Guru Parampara, to bless all of us with the Shreyas in this Janma to travel and elevate ourselves. And we pray for the welfare, happiness, and the shreyas of Dr. Chandrashekhar ji and his family as well. And thank you all. And we conclude this Guru Saparya Lalita Sahasranama portion of it today. And we will do the Guru Saparya Parayanam, paying our tributes to our Jagat Gurus tomorrow in 2 Akhandanama sessions, one in the morning and one in the evening. You have got the links. Please join us. With that, we conclude this Guru Saparya 2020. This is a very unique year where we thought that we are not able to go to Sringeri, but every day we are literally living in Sringeri and sensing the presence of Acharyas with us. There is no doubt about that. So if Ubay Gurus and Shardamba have made it for ourselves that it like this, it is our blessing. So let us take it that way. And very soon, with their blessings, we should go to Sringeri and offer our prayers to Shardamba and the physical Rupa of our Ubaya Gurus, and who in whom we see Shardamba herself as well. Thank you all. It is a very long session. Please, thanks for bearing with us. Wonderful ending. And Chandrashekhar Garu, could you please say that Purnamada Purnamidam, and we conclude with that, and then we will play the Mangala. Please.
पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ तत्सत्